Thinking about buying in Williamson County, Tennessee? You don't want to miss this. What you should know when buying in Williamson County, Tennessee. The next thing to look at is the type of homes you're in. Something more modern or a little bit more cottage feel or design layout or anything like that. What I'm talking about is new build versus resale builds. And so when you look at new builds, the pros, the new builds, you might have more modern layouts. You might have better energy efficiency based on the build. You might have builder warranties for things that you would have in your home. Some of the cons would look at higher price per square foot. Smaller lots, typically you have smaller lots with new builds unless they're in a luxury lot. And there can be HOA fees on top of that as well. Resale pros, things like established neighborhoods tend to stand out. Mature landscaping, larger lots. Those are the kind of the big pros that people who are looking for homes tend to find in that. Some of the cons, updates may be needed. There might be changes to the home you want to make, so there's still a little bit of building that could happen. Those things are also important to take in consideration. So really taking a step back and looking at the new build versus the resale, it's important to note, okay, are you looking for more modern layout with some more energy efficient? Some of the things are brand new with those warranties, or are you looking for a little bit more of an older build that has that mature landscaping and those neighborhoods that are defined and clearly maturing with time? When you buy a home, yes, you're buying a home and you're getting the property, but also to be aware there's fixes that come with that, usually with time. It just kind of happens. We just had a major ice storm and trees fell on power lines and homes. So there's fixes to roofs, there's fixes to windows, there's fixes to potentially cars. There's a lot of things that happen when you own a home that are out of your control. And so being aware of those too. So when you're choosing a new build versus a resale, there's no right or wrong, there's no better or worse. It's more, what is the total cost of ownership for you in each of those versus the long-term stability of that as well. And so that way you can make a decision not just for today, not just for the home you love today, but also for the future of that home if you ever resale yourself or if you ever needed to move, or just in general for the longevity of the home as well. Many neighborhoods in Williamson County have HOAs. For those of you who don't know what an HOA is, it is a homeowners association, which typically provides some sort of restrictions and rules for that neighborhood around how front yards look, number of cars, where you can park, availability of amenities, different things that they provide to the community. So some people love them, some people hate them. Get a mix of each. Neither is right or wrong in that sense. It's just being aware of your decision for that. So noting that a lot of communities here in Williamson County do have an HOA, it's important to be aware of what that means for you. When you buy, you need to look at things like rental restrictions. So for example, if you want to have chickens, some HOAs do not allow chickens. And so if that's important to you, then picking somewhere that doesn't allow chickens is not going to be a good choice. Making sure that you review those restrictions and what they look like. Look at short-term rental rules. If you're someone who wants to buy a short-term rental or a home that you want to use as a rental property for other people, it's important to note that some HOAs don't allow that. Some HOAs allow that after 1 year. Some HOAs allow it after 2 years. Those all influence your decision in owning a home or buying a home here. So being aware of that is important as well, especially if this is going to be something that you're going to invest money into. Fence, shed, exterior side, painting, colors, different things like that. Part of owning a home, everyone has their different opinions on what a home should look like. But when you buy into an HOA, there's some rules around the fencing can look like, what the painting can look like, if you're allowed siding or not siding, if you can have an outbuilding, if you can have a shed. All of those things are important. So again, reviewing the rules and the restrictions around that neighborhood that come with that HOA is essential. The second thing to note is zoning. So a lot of what we're finding, example on Main Street, some of the older homes that are no longer selling are being changed into coffee shops or into work areas. And so the zoning is shifting to allow for a bigger urban area growth and allow for more access to people to have amenities within our centers. When buying, it's important to look at, okay, will zoning change? So for example, there was a community just back here in Spring Hill. When it was originally built, there was only homes there. But with time, warehouses have been built in that neighborhood. And so a lot of the people in that community don't want to be near a warehouse, since they end up moving into a different community that isn't located near to the warehouses. And so being aware, okay, how will the zoning change? Will there be a zoning change? And how does that influence my decision? Others are rural zoning changes. If you go a little bit, sometimes there's green belt restrictions that you need to consider. So all of these things are important to be aware of when purchasing in Williamson County, and the zoning and HOA rules that you may encounter in those areas. Why is that important to know as a buyer? Future resale, moving, changing, those kind of things will be influenced. So if you are wanting to buy and sell again one day. Maybe this is your third house moving to your fourth house, or maybe this is your first time home buying experience. Resale is an important consideration. And so when thinking of zoning and HOA, those influence future resale. Now, may not be positive, may not be negative, may be positive, may be negative, but it's important to consider that when buying a home now, if you know you're going to one day want to sell as well. Typically what we see is Williamson County rewards good location, strong school zones, and a timeless design for a lot of people. Now, again, this is all going to be opinion for each person in terms of design. The school zoning can change, so always looking up the recent numbers of those school zones, and the location, depending on where you are, is an opinion as well. But it typically rewards those for long-term stability and increase in price of homes with time. When you want to think of buying in Williamson County, and when you want to think long-term value and resale value, you don't want to think just, okay, what does it look like tomorrow? What does it look like a year from now? Think 5 to 10 years as well. If this is not going to be the home that you're going to spend 5 to 10 years, okay, what does it look like in 3 years? What does it look like in 2 years? When are you thinking of reselling, so that you can start to predict what does this look like? But typically within Williamson County, we see a long-term investment about that 5 to 10 year, where people make their money back and more when reselling their homes, if that is important to you. What normally holds value best is, again, it's a tricky statement to make because everyone's opinion will shift, but functional floor plans tend to stand out. Manageable lot sizes. Some people really want big lots, some people don't want big lots, some people want mid-sized lots, so those manageable lot sizes tend to stand out. And neighborhoods with limited new supply. So for example, Burtonwood back here only has one house sell in the last couple of months, and so when a home pops up in that neighborhood, people tend to flock to it to see the house because it's something that people want to move into the community with. Now again, that's opinion, and so it could change depending on your preferences, but it's an example of how that neighborhood doesn't always sell often, and so when there is a home for sale in there, people tend to go look for it. What is this important, or why is this important? When you buy a home, you always want to have some sort of strategy to exit if you need to. Now, I'm not saying you want to buy a home because you want to leave the home, but sometimes you're forced to leave, there's an emergency situation, there's changes in your life, there's things that happen, and so you want to have some sort of plan if that happens as well, to, okay, if we're here for 5 years and we have to sell, if we're here for 2 years and we have to sell, if we're here for 10 years and we have to sell, if we have for 10 years we want to flip it into a rental, what does that look like? Those are important questions to start considering for what your future could look like here in Williamson County as well. Why is it important to work with someone local, and why is it important to you buying a home in Williamson County? 1. Local pricing knowledge. So if you don't know how the different markets work between Brentwood, Franklin, Thompson Station, Spring Hill, the pricing in those are all very different, the negotiation, the length of days, all the things that influence how you would strategize to buy that home change. And so if you don't know those markets well, or you don't know the details of those markets well, you can't get the best value for what you're looking for in a home, because you just don't know what you don't know. And so working with someone local is really important to help you find those value in those homes, so make sure that you're giving the best price and getting the most home for that price as well. Number 2, neighborhood specific insight. Knowing things about different neighborhoods is important. So if you live, as I mentioned earlier, in Burtonwood, right outside they are widening the roads, so there is a little bit of traffic when you exit the neighborhood at first, but then it tends to clear up. So being aware of, okay, they've just built a new fire station and they're widening the roads, sometimes there's some traffic there when you're leaving in the morning. That's important context to have if leaving in the morning and not wanting to be in traffic is important to you. 3, there's a lot of strategy that can be done, and it's not guesswork. So you're not sitting there going, okay, I think this is a good neighborhood for me, I think this is kind of the lifestyle I want to live, but rather you're working with someone that says, well, hey, hang on a second, you said you wanted this type of lifestyle, and now we're looking in this type of community, those two aren't matching. Let's take a step back and think, why? Why are they not matching, and why are we choosing this community now when what you told me was this? The goal was to make that easier and simpler for you to choose a community like that, so that way your goals are aligned with what your outcome is, and you can get the best value for the home that you want with the lifestyle that you want to live as well. Some of the really cool things, for especially for out-of-state buyers, is you can go get some pre-recordings of homes if you can't make it yet. You can get neighborhood drive around if it's important for you to drive around your neighborhood. You can get market education before you make offers. You can learn about what type of offers are being made here. Those are things that you may not necessarily know or may not necessarily be able to find online, and so having someone local help you find those is important as well. Obviously, selfless plug, just a little one. If you are looking for someone to work with here in Williamson County, I would love to be that person. I'd love to work alongside you, help you find your lifestyle fit, help you find what's important to you in a home, and find that neighborhood that's important to you, so that long term you have the home that you want to have. If you ever want to resale in the future, you have that home considered as well, and you have that expert knowledge of the market for you to choose from. If this video was helpful today from just a 50,000 view of buying here in Williamson County, please like, subscribe, follow along. I create these weekly and I'd love to help educate, to help teach you more about living in Williamson County and different counties here in Middle Tennessee, because I really enjoy getting to live here and to help people buy and sell in these areas of the world. If you're also ready to buy or sell right now, there's a kindly link down below. I'd love to chat. Let's talk about the future. There's no time like right now to always talk about your future and your planning. I'm never one that says, oh, you have to buy and sell today to have a conversation. If you're thinking about it, let's chat, let's connect, let's learn a little bit more about your goals and get the process started for you so that you can get the best value for the home you're trying to buy and the best value for the home you're trying to sell, if that is something you need to do. Until next time, see you later.